Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel Alien Connection Season 3. I'm happy to welcome you back for another episode. Today, I'd like to tell you about something that happened to me October 12, 2024. I remember I was lying in my bed, and suddenly I heard a sound in my ear. I felt something calling me, and I felt all the molecules of my body moving. I felt pulled backwards and black hole. I was in a kind of floating. I opened my eyes and I was in space. I was floating. I was getting closer to this beautiful blue sphere, turquoise, showing the continents. It was magnificent. The sound in my ears was getting louder, and I moved closer. This was the continent of Latin America. I recognized Brazil. My whistle was pointing another direction, more on the left. It was a desert. I got closer, and I saw a line of light pulsing. It was like being alive. I went into the ground. It was dark. I could see stalactites. There was a big lake, emerald color. And I saw at the bottom of the lake something shiny. I suddenly dived into the lake. At this exact moment, I felt every molecule of water get inside my body. It was a feeling very special and very strange because I could feel these particles enter into my whole body. I could breathe underwater. I could feel the water entering my breath and through my nose without suffocation, without drowning. There was this liquid force that went inside my body. And suddenly I saw it there, hidden at the bottom of the lake. A huge vessel, translucent, bluish metal. The sound in my ears suddenly stopped when I came closer to the vessel. There was a symbol on the vessel, starting from the center to the outside like a spiral. I put my hand on the wall of the vessel, exactly where the spiral was, and I felt a sensation of heat. And a light came out, and I was absorbed in. Everything was black inside, and I remembered of my several visits in 6 other arks, in Antarctica, in the Bermuda Triangle, in the Tibet in the Mount Kailash, in Egypt under the Sphinx, in Hawaii at Mauna Kea, and Mount Fuji in Japan. I'd been in the same situation in the dark. So I said out loud, "It's me," quite simply. And suddenly, the vessel's interior lights up. I couldn't see where the light was coming from. It was coming from everywhere. The walls were translucent, a very special blue. There were control seats with this kind of transparent metal. There was a dashboard with different colored crystals. And then there was the middle of this vessel in this room, a kind of a huge bubble of water with like reflection of the sun. I put my hand close and when I put my hand on the liquid, I felt a kind of warming coming off, and it began to spin in a clockwise direction. And I was suddenly absorbed inside. Suddenly, I found myself in the front of a being of light, but I felt a very powerful woman's energy. And suddenly, I heard in my mind, clearly, "Welcome, Shaska." I searched on the internet, what does it mean, Shaska? Well, it's coming from an ancient Peruvian language, Quechua, and that means bright star. And I heard, we will meet again. See you soon. And suddenly, I felt myself being pulled backwards, and I felt all my molecules back inside me. It was cracking. My body was in boiling, as if my molecules were being restructured inside my body. This experience has been incredible. But that's not all. A few days later, Melanie and I moved to Sedona. Meet our friends, Tony Rodriguez and his lovely Veronica. We were there for a conference and met some people, very interesting, different environments with incredible stories. And that's when I heard Tony talking his incredible experience with remote viewing. And I say to Tony, I want to do an experiment. So, I experienced something incredible before I came to Sedona, when we were in Canada. How to proceed to your experiment remote viewing? He explained to me to mark the subject in an envelope closed and put the envelope in a place where no one has access, and try to discover what this envelope contains. What's happened is simply amazing. Firstly, he and his group tried to find what was in the envelope, but they didn't succeed because there was something blocking the energy around what I had discovered. He had no idea what was inside this envelope. Not him, not Veronica. Tony's remote viewing team all said the same thing. There was a force, something blocking the way, as if they don't want us to go through this place to find out what's there. We were a little disappointed, but it still made Tony curious when he said, "There's not nothing, there is something, or we wouldn't all have the same results of something blocking." Then suddenly, Veronica said, "I'll give it a try." And what happened next is quite simply amazing. She found out what was in the envelope, and not only did she find it, but more than that, she lived it exactly as I experienced it. The same sensation, same thing inside. It was mind-blowing. I want to tell you something very important for understanding my movement in different places. I asked Victor what was happening to me, and he said, "When you were younger, you physically teleported. Now it's different. Your abilities has evolved. You are able to project your cells in another place, duplicating you at the molecular level. You are projecting your energy and atoms elsewhere, and you can interact with matter. In short, you physically duplicate yourself with all its advantages. But your original envelope remains in place. You feel the same thing, and you are visible and palpable for people who see you and interact with you. Remember, in France, people have seen you and took you in their arms and talked with you while you were at the family dinner. You were in two places at once. And remember what Dan Winter said. You have an exceptional ability. You can change your vibratory frequency and project it through your aura. And your unique gamma brainwave have been recorded. And you, yourself, are a Stargate. Oh, okay. So I can go wherever I want? Yes, but be careful where you go, because you are really there. I had my explanation and it did make sense. And at the same time, for the people listening to this video, maybe this will make them understand what's happening to me when I move to different places. Thanks again for following me for this new episode, and I see you soon.